This video is option 4, improving performance. Key idea 1, how do athletes train for improved performance? The dot point for this video is anaerobic training. The right hand side of the syllabus requires students to have an understanding of just 2 types of training, and this video will be for anaerobic training. If you are hoping to watch the aerobic training video, then there should be a link appearing on the screen right now. And I have a separate video which addresses the right hand side syllabus questions, and a link for that should be on the screen also. I do advise that you watch both the aerobic and anaerobic videos first, however. So to the actual dot point of anaerobic training, and the starting point should be to define anaerobic training. Anaerobic exercise is high intensity physical activity that leads to an oxygen deficit or physical activity without oxygen. When performing at high intensity levels, the cardiovascular system finds it difficult delivering the oxygen required to the muscles fast enough. Since muscles require oxygen to maintain physical activity, anaerobic exercise can only continue for short periods of time, from a few seconds to 2 minutes depending on the intensity. A good example is the 400 meters in athletics, which at an elite level is in the mid to high 40 seconds. Anaerobic training targets the ATP, PC, and the lactic acid systems. The components of fitness that the anaerobic training should target are primarily power and speed, which is what the syllabus wants the focus to be. The syllabus suggests 3 types of training methods to improve power and speed. The first of these is developing power through resistance or weight training. Power is the ability to exert maximum force in a short period of time. In a sporting context, that can mean jumping higher or longer, bursting through a tackle, or hitting the ball a long way. When you see power defined this way, you can see how important it is to be developed in particular sports and for specific athletes. In your texts and online, you'll see power expressed as a formula. That is, power equals force times distance over time. Again, to put this in a sporting context, the goal of power training is to reduce the amount of time it takes to apply a set amount of force or weight. Force is developed by lifting heavy weight, but the more weight you add, the speed at which the repetition can be done decreases. You need to have a think about what this means. If an individual's maximum bench press for 1 repetition is 100 kilograms, it would take them longer to perform that 1 rep than if there was just 50 kilograms on the bar. This creates a bit of a dilemma for the athlete and coaches. Is it best to train heavy and to try and move the force or weight quickly? Or is it best to train light and actually perform the repetitions quickly? This is where specificity becomes important in determining what is required in the athlete's sport. In sports where athletes must overcome significant weight, such as pushing in a scrum and weightlifting or power type sports, then training heavy with low repetitions would be more appropriate. In sports where speed is crucial, then training low weight and more repetitions done quickly is important. An example for power development would be a heavy weight, high sets and low reps. It could be, for example, 4 to 5 sets of 3 reps or up to 7 to 8 sets of just a single rep. Weight training focusing on power enhances the fast twitch muscle fibers so that they can generate explosive movements. The next syllabus suggestion to improve speed and power is plyometrics. Plyometrics consists of powerful and fast movements. It improves the elasticity of muscles and tendons to create more powerful muscle contractions. This is known as the Stretch-Shortening Cycle, or SSC for short. Plyometrics is when a concentric muscle contraction follows as quick as possible an eccentric contraction of the same muscle. This means there are in fact 3 phases to a plyometric exercise. 1, the eccentric phase, 2, the amortization phase, and 3, the concentric phase. Number 1, the eccentric phase. This is where the muscle lengthens under tension, such as the hamstring muscle lengthening as your leg lands during a box jump. The amortization phase is the rest period between the eccentric and concentric phase, and for plyometric exercises it should be done as quick as possible. The concentric phase is the jumping phase from the floor to the box, and this is where the muscle contracts. So in the example in this video, the jumping down from the box is the eccentric contraction, and then as quickly as possible bounding back up onto the box is the concentric contraction. I'm beginning to sound like a broken record, but again, specificity is the key. The plyometric movement performed in training should suit the requirements of the sport. For Anna Meares, Australian Olympic cyclist, it's crucial to develop speed and power in her lower body. The two types of exercises you see on the screen here are the box jump and the single leg press. By the way, both of these are incredible feats of athleticism. These assist Meares in developing speed and power in her lower body. For a baseball pitcher, then upper body plyometrics is far more appropriate. The number of reps and sets to suggest is difficult as it depends on the exercise being performed. But as a guideline, the research I have done is that the amount of ground contacts per week, that is, how many times you land, should not exceed between 100 to 120. The general guidelines for each plyometric training session is 3 appropriate plyometric exercises, doing 3 to 5 sets of that exercise, and 5 reps for each set. And this should be done about 2 to 3 times per week. Vary the exercises so that you are not doing the same exercise more than once per week. Some examples of common upper body plyometric exercises include the push-up clap. During a series of push-ups, a clap is added in between each push-up. The eccentric contraction occurs when the hands arrive back on the ground after the clap, followed quickly by an explosive action upwards. This is the concentric contraction. Keep ground contact to a minimum. Other upper body examples using a medicine ball include side medicine ball throws, the overhead medicine ball throw, and the overhead medicine ball slam down. Lower body examples include hurdle hops, which is on the screen now, box jumps as shown previously in the video, and depth jumps. These exercises should only be given to conditioned athletes and should start out with low impact and then increase in intensity. Safety is crucial and a flat surface for the landing is important, as well as having a spotter to prevent injury. The final syllabus example is short interval training, and from here on in, SIT for short. SIT is exercising near or at maximum intensity, and then a slow jog or walk recovery. This is done to improve the ATP-PC energy systems and the lactic acid system. When you perform SIT, the energy for this is produced anaerobically or without oxygen. Anaerobic exercise leads to oxygen debt. Athletes continue to breathe deeply and heavily for an extended period of time after exercise. This is because oxygen is needed to metabolize lactic acid to carbon dioxide and water. By performing SIT, the body adapts and burns lactic acid more efficiently during exercise. This means athletes can exercise at a higher intensity for longer periods of time before fatigue slows them down. SIT has different requirements dependent on which energy system the athlete is wanting to improve. For the ATP-PC energy system, the athlete should be able to run at maximum effort or top speed, and it should be for a time period of up to 10 seconds. How long the rest period after high intensity is run is not an exact science, and you'll find different recommendations between texts and online. The recommendations I give are what I see as the common ground. The amount of rest in a workout determines the physiological adaptations targeted. Changing the time taken between intervals impacts the overall intensity of a workout. Longer rest periods are more beneficial, so you can run a repetition almost flat out. The rest period after high intensity running should be 10 times as long as the run. For a 10-second run, the rest period would be approximately 100 seconds or a work-rest ratio of 1 to 10. Training for the lactic acid would have high intensity running of between 30 seconds to 2 minutes in duration. For this video, I will use 400-metre intervals as my example. Depending on the athlete's ability, this would be between 1 to 2 minutes in time. To keep the math simple, I will say the athlete will complete these 400 metres in 60 seconds. It would not be possible for any athlete to do multiple 400 metre intervals at 100% intensity or at top speed. So in effect, they are running with their foot off the accelerator. To give it a number, I will say they are running at 80% of their top speed. The rest period after 400 metre intervals should be 3 times as long as the run. For the 400 metre interval that took 60 seconds to run, that would be a rest period of 180 seconds or 3 minutes. Sit because of the maximal efforts of the running cause fatigue, and it's for this reason these sessions are not undertaken on a daily basis. I will finish this video by leaving examples for short-term interval training for both the ATP PC system and also the anaerobic system, but I'm not going to go into them in detail. Pause the video if you'd like to take a closer look at the examples. I will cover the right-hand side syllabus questions in another video for both aerobic training and anaerobic training. There should be a link on the screen now. Thanks for watching.